Just 8 justices on the Supreme Court as it starts a new term today. It's first since the death of RBG. And there are some major issues on the docket, things like health care, religion, and LGBTQ rights. NBC News Justice correspondent Pete Williams joining us now from Washington. Pete, we have seen 8 justices on the bench before, but remind our viewers, what happens if the court is deadlocked on an issue? How is this resolved?
So in any given case, the case simply goes poof. It's as though it never came to the court at all. The lower court ruling is left standing as though there were never appeals, and you can't cite the Supreme Court's failure to resolve it as any kind of precedent. So it basically means nothing.
Pete, the Supreme Court already busy this morning rejecting an appeal from Kim Davis. She's the Kentucky County Clerk who refused to issue marriage licenses to gay couples. Tell us more about that decision.
Right. That was right after the Supreme Court's decision in 2015 that said states cannot ban same-sex marriage. Several couples went to her, the county clerk, and because Kentucky law said that marriage licenses have to be issued in the name of the county clerk, she said, I can't do that. It violates my religious freedom. They sued. She lost. You may remember that at one point, a court even ordered her to issue the marriage licenses. She refused and was briefly jailed for contempt of court. So the issue is a very narrow one. It's whether she can be sued individually. She said, no, I am immune from lawsuits. I'm a government official. The couples who sued her said, no, there is a rule of immunity, but not for somebody who intentionally violates existing law. And she knew the law of the land was the Supreme Court decision. The lower courts have all gone against her, and today the Supreme Court declined to take up her appeal. Now, it did generate a concurrence, but a kind of a warning, if you will, from Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito, who said, you know, we've got to address this question of what happens when someone's religious views run up against an anti-discrimination law. They said that the Supreme Court's decision in the gay marriage case, which, of course, they dissented from, made anyone who opposes same-sex marriage into a bigot, and they said the Supreme Court should fix that.
Pete, November 10th is the big day for Obamacare. 20 million Americans rely on the Affordable Care Act for their health insurance. What could happen in this case if Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed before November 10th?
Well, you know, I think the fairest answer to that question is we don't know. However, Amy Coney Barrett has made comments before that said she did not agree. She thought that Chief Justice John Roberts pushed the law beyond the limits, I think is the way she put it, in the original ruling on Obamacare, when the Supreme Court said it could be upheld as a legitimate use of Congress's taxing power. Because remember, what the law said is you have to buy insurance, and that's the individual mandate, and if you don't buy it, then you pay a penalty on your income tax. Well, this case has come back to the court because in the intervening years, Republicans, when they controlled Congress, said, OK, we'll fix this. We'll just set the income tax penalty at 0. So now you can't say that there's a tax saving from Obamacare because there's no tax. Now, that begs the question of whether, with no penalty, whether there's still an individual mandate. That's one question. And Amy Coney Barrett, you know, may well, based on her previous comments, agree that that part of the law is unconstitutional, the individual mandate. I think the real question in this make-or-break case for Obamacare is, OK, if you assume the individual mandate is unconstitutional, what happens to the rest of the law? The red states and the lower court judges have all said it's all one big interconnected web. You can't just pull part of it out and leave the rest of it intact. It's like a house of cards. You take one thing out and the whole thing collapses. And they have said, and the Trump administration has agreed with this, that the entire law has to be struck down. The blue states that are defending it, because the Trump administration is not defending the law, say, no, it can be saved. You can take the individual mandate out and leave the rest of the law intact. And how Amy Coney Barrett would rule on that question, I just have no idea.
We'll have to wait and see. Pete, the Supreme Court opening its new term today. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.